Hey there, I hope everybody's having a great week so far. My camera girl is not with me right now, so I thought I would see if I could video myself just with my phone. She usually puts it up on the tripod and has my microphone, but we're gonna see if this will work for when I don't have her here or when I'm off somewhere. I'm gonna try this, but I've missed you guys. And we've had a lot going on the last couple weeks. Actually, we've had a lot going on the last 8 months to a year. It's been absolutely crazy, and time's just flying and things are just happening, and I guess that's just part of this earthly life, isn't it? But anyway, I told you week before last, or the episode before the last one, that I would be talking about faith and my faith, God's faithfulness, and how that brings about the light. So I just wanted to start by saying, I think in life, sometimes we feel like we have great faith, and we feel like no matter what happens, we know how to handle it, we know what we're going to do, we know how to pray about it. Excuse me, we know what the word says, that kind of thing. And we have the best intention with it. And we're able to tell others about having that kind of faith and what to do and all those things. And then when something major happens in your life, it might be a little different when that faith is tested. And I think that's when, doubts and fears start to creep in, and sometimes we don't have hope. We may be thinking, oh my gosh, I hope this works, or I hope that they'll be okay, or I hope I'm okay, or am I gonna make it? And all these kind of things start happening. And that's when we're tested. And then when we make it through it, that's when that great faith and that unwavering faith, I think, begins to really grow in you. Sometimes it may not even be your own major situation, but it may be someone else's. But that seals your faith in God. So I'm just going to touch on a few things here, because I know I could talk to you all day and forever and probably a week on all this kind of stuff. But back when I was 15 years old, I was in a really bad car accident, and I had big gashes in my head. I had a hole in, well, it was a little hole, but they had to work on it. I have a beautiful scar there on my left leg, and then my right femur was broken. I ended up having to have a rod put in that leg, removed a year later. So it was a lot of traumatic things going on during that time, and maybe for another day I could share the whole experience, because it's really neat. Some of the things that happened that still stuck with me throughout the years. But I had great faith. The night we had that car accident, we were actually coming back from church to the house. I only lived 5 miles from our church. And we were leaving the next day for like a winter church retreat, youth retreat. And so I really was on fire for the Lord. So there was a lot of ministry opportunities then, but of course I was 15. And so that's been almost 36 years ago this December. And I want you guys to know, this past fall, a good friend of ours' daughter was in an ATV accident. And I mean, touch and go. There was some really scary moments there. And she had issues with the leg. And, there were various things that were going on with her that made me remember my situation, even though I don't feel like mine was near as bad as hers. But I can remember thinking, can I feel my leg? Am I going to walk with a limp? What will people say about my scar? I have a big scar on my hip. I still answer questions about it, and it's fine. Just so many different things. And especially being that young, and she's a 14-year-old, so we were kind of almost the same age. But God allowed me to use that story and to share my story, use my experience and share my story with her. And I go, wow, He is still using my story 35 years later. That's amazing. And, you know, so many times I saw God's faithfulness in that. And just like in 1998, I was 23 years old when my mom was diagnosed with pro-mal leukemia. And this was devastating to our family. I mean, we were just like, not our mama. I mean, you know. And I can remember finally surrendering, because I was like, okay, Lord, you know, it's not about me. It's about my mama. And I prayed and I asked him to heal her, even if it meant to take her home to glory. You know, I knew she'd have a new body. She would no longer be in pain, because it was horrible to see her going through this. And, you know, I was like, but if you want to heal her for here, you know, of course I was welcoming that too, but I would never pray for her to live and to continue having to live through that if it, you know, if she really needed to go home. But I had to give her up, and I did. And now I can say, let's see, what is it, 25 years later, she's still here, cancer-free, and has been for 25 years this fall. So she was healed, you know, and that's another time that you see the faith in God's faithfulness in answering prayers. And then there's other things and trials through the year. When I was 36, I had a divorce, which was horrible and hard, and didn't know what I was going to do, and, you know, all those uncertainties. And of course, there's been other things through life. I mean, there's things that happen all the time. Some are so small, you know, that we think, oh, does that even count for something? Yes, it does. And, you know, we may pray about those small things and think it's such a simple little thing, but it's so important, and it's part of your story and part of your testimony. And I mean, sometimes it's even things like, I don't mean to get off on too many tangents, but I was working for a company one time, and we had meetings regularly of management. And we would play games, or we might do role playing or whatever for sales, you know, and business development exercises. And we did one, and the winner would get $25. And I know it doesn't seem like a whole lot. It wasn't really a whole lot then either, but it was a lot to me at the time. My husband was in flight school. He didn't have an income. I was the only income. I had one child. And we didn't have any money. And I didn't even know, I couldn't buy bread. And I could have asked my parents or my grandparents, and they would have fed us. Of course, we weren't going to starve, but I had a lot of pride, and I was trying to figure out how to make it happen. So we played this game. I won the $25. I was so excited because I knew I was going to buy bread on my way home that day. And actually, my boss got on to me after the meeting, and she told me that I should have let somebody else win. And, you know, those people did make less money than I did and that kind of thing. But God was answering my prayer, because I had a prayer for me to be able to buy some groceries. And so even those small things like that, the times I've gotten checks in the mail that I've overpaid the dentist, or I've overpaid the doctor, or AT&T had a settlement or whatever, which is just crazy. Sometimes it's the exact amount to pay a bill that I've been praying about. So I have seen that in my life. There is no way I can deny there's a God, because it has always worked. I've always seen it. Now, there was a time in 2016 that God didn't answer my prayer the way I thought he would. And it was hard. I was crushed. And, you know, after that happened, though, I don't know that it was immediately. I don't know how long it was. But all of a sudden it hit me like a, you know, rock in my head or something. I am not in control. That's hard. I mean, let's be real. It's hard to say, I am not in control. I don't know everything. I mean, we are not all-knowing. We are not God. And it's not that we think we are, but we try to get into that role so many times where we want to control it. We want to fix it, especially when it's our children or our grandchildren, you know, your spouse. You want to fix it. You want to make it okay for everybody. But you know, he knew his purpose and his plan. I didn't. And we have to relinquish that control. That's the surrender. You know, God, this is yours. We are not near, not even an inkling as mighty and powerful as you are. This is yours. I want your will. That's hard. It's hard to do sometimes, but you know, I've made myself more aware so that I don't think that I know. Oh, he's going to do this. I know. No, we don't know. We have no idea. He knows his plan. He knows the entire picture. And even when it hurts, oh gosh, even when it hurts, I want his will. His will's better than mine. He knows the end. He knows the middle. He knows the first. He knows the whole of it, y'all. You know, we're only seeing a snippet, and heaven's eternal. So until then, we don't know. And the other thing is, you know, don't assume that you have time. I had a client one time, and I was doing a loan for him, and I offered him credit life insurance, and he didn't want it. And he was in his 20s. I can't remember if it was 23 or 28, one of those. But anyway, his name was Kyle. I remember him plain as day. And, you know, we were talking, and I explained it all to him, you know, so he'd know. He said, nah, you ain't worried about that. I'm going to have the thing paid off or I'm going to die anyway. And, you know, he didn't want it. I said, are you sure now? Because, you know, it's not real expensive. You know, went through this whole thing. He didn't want to. Well, his stepfather had signed the loan with him. He co-signed for him. And after Kyle died, unexpectedly, the parents came to see me thinking he had insured the loan. And unfortunately, I had to tell him he had not, that he thought he had time. So we don't know, y'all. You know, and I know somebody might say, well, the church has been telling me for 30 years, I'm not promised tomorrow and I'm still here. That's great. You've had 30 years to get it figured out. Some people don't have that long. And you don't know that you've got the next breath, the next minute, the next hour. You don't know that you'll have 30 years and one day longer. You know, I was just at an event this past week, and I had a friend telling me that she and her mother were on the outs, and they weren't really speaking. And I said, you know, the thing about that is, you don't want regrets if she were to die. And I said, I'm not saying that you need to agree with her or that she's right or that you need to do everything with her and share everything or be in a toxic relationship at all. I'm not saying that at all. I said, but you need to make some kind of talk with her, some way, civil, agree to disagree, something to where you won't have regrets if something happens to her. Because her remark to me was, she's only 80, there's still time. We don't know that the young person has time. We don't know. Don't think I'm gonna do it tomorrow. You know, it's just like when I feel led to go see somebody in the hospital or something, buddy, you better bet I go, because there have been times I didn't, and things have happened, and I've regretted it, and I still think about it to this day. And so now even my husband knows, because the other day I said, I really feel like I need to go see so-and-so, even though we had to go to Atlanta. And he said, we're going. He knew we had to go. I had to do it. So I didn't mean to get off onto that little tangent there, but I just want you to know we're not promised tomorrow. And, you know, I know people that have seemed like they've had faith before, and then do a whole 360, and now I'm wondering where in the world they are in this world, because they have no faith in God. They don't seek Him. They don't pray for direction or wisdom or give Him thanks or look to Him or anything. And I think, what an awful place to be. Because every trial, every hardship, every hurt, every pain of any kind that I've been through in my life, I've prayed about or over or through it, and God has shown me His faithfulness. I could go through and I could name things till I was blue in the face. Y'all wouldn't believe some of them. But you know, when you bring my faith my unwavering faith and God's faithfulness, that's where the light is. The light is shining. He has never forsaken me. He's always been with me. I have complete faith in God and His plan for my life. Because if it was up to me, I know I would mess it up. Because I've been good about messing things up before, so I know I would mess it up. Do I have bad moments and sad times? Oh my gosh, absolutely. I mean, oh my goodness, yes. But you know, I have the hope. And I know He's going to see me through it no matter what. I mean, there's sometimes you think, I can't take this anymore. But you know what? He's going to take care of me. And I can take it, because you know why? I may not really be able to take it, but He can. I know who can handle it. I know who it's not too burdensome for Him. He wants our burdens. He wants to hear from you. But I'm going to tell you, I might pray about something today, and it doesn't happen today. That doesn't mean I say, well, I've been praying about this for 2 years and nothing's happened. I'm going to tell you something. There was a situation in my family I had been praying about every single day for years. Concerned over this person. And I would get to the point to where I'd say, Lord, I don't even know what to ask anymore. I don't know how to pray about this anymore. I don't know what to do. I don't know what you want me to say. All I can tell you is I hurt. I want to fix it. I can't. I love them. I want them to have a relationship like me, but I can't force them to. Because there's free will. They get to choose. They choose all their own paths. But I'm going to tell you something. The day that dark cloud lifted and I started seeing the change in that person, I said, thank you, Lord. You are faithful. For whatever reason, we had to grow through time, or we had to go through a cycle, or we had to go through some stage, or whatever it was. And y'all, I'm telling you, it was years. This is why I tell people, when they say they're praying over a loved one or a child or whatever, whether it's a drug situation or a bad heart or they're unsaved or whatever it is, I'm like, don't give up. Don't give up. Keep praying. There is something to be said about those prayer warriors that keep praying. You will see something. Don't give up. You keep planting those seeds. You keep praying. You keep that faith. Even when those times that you think, because let me tell you something. Okay, so you don't believe anymore. You don't have faith anymore because He didn't answer that one prayer, or He didn't answer it the way you wanted Him to. What hope do you have now? How do you feel? So thank the Lord, literally, that He doesn't give up on us when we screw up something or we don't do something the way He wants us to. Think about that. All right, I've gone way past time. Obviously, my camera crew isn't here. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say. My camera crew isn't here to edit me and wave at me when I'm at this many minutes and whatever. But I hope you all got something out of today. And I love you. I'm thankful for all of you and for whatever God wants me to do and wants you to hear through this. And I pray that you are all having a fabulous week and that the rest of it is fantastic. Take care of yourselves. Love yourself. Be healthy. Stay hydrated.